You don't win her heart by chasing. You win it by being deeply centered. She doesn't care about your nice guy efforts. She's not impressed by your respectful texts, your flowers, or how available you make yourself. In fact, the more you try to be the perfect man for her, the more she starts looking past you. She wants to feel something around you, not see effort, feel power. She can't explain it, but she feels it when you're fully grounded, not when you're trying to please, but when you're rooted in yourself. Comment, I'm grounded, and let's get into the 5 powerful acts that make women fall madly in love with you. Number 1. Setting strong boundaries. If you don't know where your line is, you'll keep letting people cross it, and you'll keep waking up in relationships where you feel invisible, misunderstood, and walked over, like your time, your energy, and your heart were made to be stepped on and tolerated instead of respected and valued. And the sad part is, most men go years without realizing that the entire reason they are overlooked, ghosted, emotionally drained, or left feeling like they never mattered is not because they weren't good enough, but because they never had the spine to define what's good enough for them and stick to it without apology. And this is where everything breaks down, because society trains you to think that setting boundaries makes you harsh or cold, when in reality it's the most powerful signal of self-worth. And without it, you're just a man waiting to be used, disrespected, and reshaped by every woman who senses your softness and exploits it in the name of independence. And it's not her fault she tests you. It's instinctual, because deep down she's asking, who is this man? And can I trust his word, his frame, his soul to hold its ground when pressure comes? Or will he trade his voice, his values, his vision for the tiniest chance at intimacy? And the problem is, you keep trying to fix her attitude when the issue is you never set the tone from day one. You smiled when she crossed the line. You said, it's okay, when it wasn't. You tolerated things that killed your peace just to avoid confrontation. And what you don't understand is every time you bend, every time you say yes when your gut screams no, you're sending her the message that you're replaceable, pliable, weak. Not because you are weak, but because you act like a man who doesn't value himself enough to speak truthfully or walk away from what disrespects him. And in today's world, where women are taught to lead and men are told to soften, the only way to reclaim your power is by building walls not around your heart, but around your standards. Walls that don't get lowered because she's beautiful, affectionate, or says all the right things during the honeymoon phase. Because the real test isn't how she acts when things are good. It's how she behaves when you say no, when you stop giving, when you draw a line and hold it. And if she flakes on plans without warning and you respond with, it's all good, you just told her she can treat your time like an option, and you'll still be there hoping, waiting, chasing. But if you say, I don't reschedule with people who don't respect my time, you're not being mean, you're being clear, you're being unshakable, and that creates gravity. Because now she knows you don't beg for attention. You command respect not with volume or violence, but with stillness and certainty. And that's the kind of man women crave, not because he yells or threatens, but because he leads. And when you lead yourself with firmness and control, you become the rarest thing she's ever seen. And if you've ever had a woman treat you like a placeholder, breadcrumb you with mixed signals, or string you along with affection one day and distance the next, it's because you allowed it, not once or twice, but as a pattern. And every time she got away with it, you trained her to believe that you don't believe you deserve better. And so she tests more and more, until eventually she loses all respect for you and walks away to chase a man who wouldn't tolerate a single thing you let slide. And it hurts not because you loved her, but because you compromised who you are, trying to win someone who was never meant to stay in the version of you that doesn't love himself enough to walk away. So stop tolerating late replies. Stop accepting disrespect disguised as independence. Stop making room for people who don't prioritize you. and instead start seeing boundaries not as rejection, but as protection. The fortress around your soul that says, I don't need to control her, but I will control who has access to me. And when you start enforcing those standards without anger, without over-explaining, without guilt, your energy shifts, your tone deepens, your presence sharpens, and women will feel it before they even speak to you. They'll know this is a man who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't fold under pressure, a man who gives his time to those who've earned it and withdraws it the moment it's wasted, and you'll start noticing something magical. Suddenly, the disrespect stops, the mixed signals fade, the games vanish, because people only play with those who let them. And when you become the man who walks away not to punish but to preserve himself, you no longer get used. You get chosen, not because you needed to prove your worth, but because you became a man who lives it daily. And that's the transformation that doesn't just change your relationships, it changes your life. Because when you master this, you stop fearing loss, you stop chasing validation, and you start moving like a man who's fully at peace with what he allows and what he refuses. And that is the kind of presence that doesn't beg for loyalty. It commands it, not with ego, not with bravado, but with quiet consistency. And from this day forward, every time you feel disrespected, overlooked, or treated like an afterthought, remember it's not her fault for acting that way. It's your responsibility to stop allowing it. And the moment you choose to no longer be the man who tolerates what breaks him, you become the man she never thought she'd meet and the one she'll never forget. And now you have the exact roadmap to becoming that man in the Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook, created for men who are done playing small. This isn't just a book, it's your daily manual for mastering presence, boundaries, discipline, and emotional control, packed with timeless Stoic principles that will immediately shift how you show up in relationships and life. And it's now available as an audiobook, so you can listen while walking, jogging, lifting, or even just driving, turning your downtime into transformation time. Ask yourself, how much longer will you live reacting to life instead of leading it? How much more time will you waste repeating cycles that drain your soul? The link is in the comments. Grab it now and start becoming the man who never needs to explain his worth. He lives it. Number 2, value your time. If your time means nothing to you, it will mean nothing to anyone else, and this is the mistake men keep making. They offer their time like it's a free sample, available anytime, anywhere, hoping that being constantly present, endlessly available, and always ready to respond will make her see their worth. But all it does is expose a deeper truth. You don't value yourself enough to protect your most finite resource. And the truth is, a man who doesn't prioritize his time will always be treated like an option, because people intuitively know when you're too free, too flexible, too easily accessed. And the minute she senses that you're waiting around for her to call, to reply, to choose you, you've already lost, because your time has become her toy, her test, her safety net. And instead of seeing you as a man of purpose, she sees you as a man on pause, waiting for her to give you a role to play. And the most dangerous place you can be as a man is in someone else's waiting room, watching your dreams rot while you chase moments of affection, hoping that your availability will be seen as loyalty, when in reality it screams emptiness. Because let's face it, when you respond instantly, cancel plans just to see her, skip the gym, ignore your business, stay up late just to keep the conversation going, or rearrange your goals for another text, you're broadcasting one message loud and clear: I'm not busy building anything important, I'm just hoping you'll validate me with attention. And what you fail to realize is that women don't fall for men who orbit them. They fall for men who are going somewhere with or without them. And when your calendar is empty but your notifications are full, you've already traded your future for dopamine. You've sold out your mission for the mirage of connection, and it's killing you slowly because every hour you give to people who don't respect your direction is an hour stolen from the man you're supposed to become. And the fix isn't complicated, but it is brutal. Reclaim your time like your life depends on it, because it does. Wake up and plan your day around what moves the needle, what builds, what strengthens, what expands your edge, and once that's locked in, then and only then do you see if someone's presence fits within that frame. And if it doesn't, you don't apologize, you don't over-explain, you simply say, "I'm unavailable," and you stick to it, because every time you bend your schedule for someone who hasn't earned that access, you dilute your value and they can feel it. And if you think being busy turns her off, you're wrong. It turns her on when it's real, when you're actually immersed in work, in purpose, in projects that make you forget to check your phone every 5 minutes, not because you're avoiding her, but because your focus is sharp and your day is full, and that energy is contagious. It's powerful, it's rare, because she meets hundreds of men who will drop everything for her, but very few who will stay disciplined, stay grounded, and stay unavailable for anything that doesn't serve their growth. And if you've ever wondered why she pulled away after you started texting more, calling more, adjusting your life around her schedule, it's because she felt your time shifting from rare to desperate, from meaningful to mindless, from purposeful to passive. And that shift kills attraction faster than anything, because no woman wants to feel like your world collapses if she doesn't reply. No woman respects a man who turns his whole day upside down for someone who hasn't earned that level of priority. And the cold truth is, the moment she feels like you need her to validate how you spend your time, she starts looking for someone who validates himself by how he shows up in the world, who doesn't need approval to stay focused, who doesn't need attention to feel worthy. And this is where most men crumble, because they confuse obsession with loyalty. They think availability equals effort. They think saying yes all the time means commitment, when in reality it reveals a man with no direction, no spine, and no plan. And this is why you must build a schedule that you protect with your life, that no woman, no feeling, no desire for intimacy can interrupt, because if you don't guard your time, the world will hijack it with drama, distractions, and low-value connections disguised as opportunities. And this is how you stay stuck, half-built, half-present, half-evolved, wondering why nothing changes, while your future self screams for you to wake up and cut the cord from anything that drains your momentum and start treating your time like you treat your breath. Non-negotiable, sacred, a sign of life, because a man who respects his time doesn't chase women. He attracts them by how seriously he moves, by how unbothered he is, by how little he responds to chaos. And if you've ever been ghosted by a woman you gave your time to, understand this. She didn't disappear because you weren't good enough. She disappeared because your time became too cheap, and people discard what feels free. But when your presence becomes rare, when your attention is no longer on tap, when you stop replying to nonsense and start living like your minutes are investments, not donations, the entire game shifts, not just with her but with everyone, because now you walk into rooms and people feel your energy, not because you're loud, not because you're charming, but because you carry yourself like a man who has places to be, things to do, and standards to uphold. And that kind of man is dangerous, not in the toxic sense, but in the disciplined sense, the focused sense, the type of danger that says, I don't waste time, I don't entertain confusion, I don't let anyone pull me off track because my life is moving. And if you can keep up, you're welcome to join. And that's the presence women crave, because it forces them to rise. It inspires them to match that frequency, and if they can't, they leave. And that's a blessing, because the wrong ones self-select out the moment they realize they can't manipulate your availability, and the right ones step in knowing they're not your purpose, they're a part of your process, not the center of your world. And when you finally become the man who values his time like gold, everything changes. Your money, your mind, your body, your relationships, because you're no longer living for temporary approval. You're living for permanent transformation. And that is a life few men ever taste, because most are too busy waiting on her reply instead of writing their own future. And if that's you today, it doesn't have to be tomorrow. Draw the line, reclaim the minutes, shut down the leaks, and watch how fast your world begins to reflect the man you've always had the potential to become. Number 3, prioritize your purpose. If your life stops the moment a woman enters it, then you never had a life to begin with, and this is the uncomfortable truth most men avoid, because deep down they know they've been living without direction, floating from distraction to distraction, using women, social media, or entertainment as a way to escape the pressure of responsibility and growth. And the cost of that is your soul, your ambition, your edge, and your very identity as a man, because the man who lives without a purpose is a man who becomes reactive, insecure, and emotionally needy, chasing validation because he's lost the internal compass that tells him who he is without anyone's permission. And this is why she loses interest the moment you make her your focus, because you've abandoned the very thing that made you interesting in the first place: your drive, your independence, your refusal to be swayed by temporary feelings or superficial affection. And the second she senses that your world now revolves around her, she starts to back away. Not because she's cruel, but because she can't respect a man who loses himself just to keep her. And if you've ever wondered why the guy who barely texts her, barely checks in, and barely tries ends up being the one she obsesses over, it's not because he's better than you. It's because he's absorbed in his mission, and whether that mission is business, fitness, creativity, or self-mastery, the point is he has something bigger than her that commands his attention. And that energy, that forward momentum creates gravity because it tells her, I want you, but I don't need you. And that's what keeps her intrigued, because she knows she can't shake his foundation. She knows he won't spiral if she pulls away. She knows his identity is locked into something deeper than validation, and that makes her feel something she can't get from a man who's always there, always agreeable, always available. And this is what separates the men who lead from the men who follow. Those with a mission always set the tone, while those without one end up being shaped by every woman they date, every trend they chase, and every distraction they entertain. And the cost of that is everything, because you wake up one day and realize you've spent years building someone else's dreams, chasing someone else's approval, and ignoring your own potential because it was easier to scroll, to simp, to sacrifice your fire just to feel needed. And this is not what you were born for. You were born to create, to conquer, to carve your path so deeply into the world that people either follow or get left behind. And if that sounds harsh, good, because this isn't about balance, it's about obsession, the kind of obsession that makes you wake up early, cut off distractions, delay gratification, and move like your time is short because it is. And every minute you spend entertaining drama, chasing women, or debating your worth is a minute you lose forever. And this is why the most powerful men are the ones who have no time to prove anything. They're too busy building, too busy crafting something that outlives them, too busy sharpening their mind, their body, and their presence, because they understand one principle that weak men never grasp. The world does not reward comfort, it rewards conquest. And the moment you start treating your life like a mission, not a mood, everything begins to change. You stop tolerating mediocrity, you stop dating women who drain you, you stop spending time with people who don't build with you, and you start becoming terrifying in the best way, not because you're cruel, but because you've become clear. And clarity is rare. It intimidates, it repels the unsure and attracts the aligned. And now you're no longer chasing women because they chase you, not because you're playing games, but because you've become magnetic by living in alignment, by making every decision serve your higher self, by choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. And when she meets you in this energy, she realizes you are not like the others. You don't crumble when she withdraws. You don't beg when she's distant. You don't lose focus because someone doesn't like you. You stay the course. You adjust the sail, but never the destination. And that's what makes you unforgettable, because she knows that even if she walks away, you won't chase. Not because you don't care, but because your care has boundaries, your love has direction, and your life doesn't pause for anyone. And this is how you build legacy, not through charm, not through effort, but through obsession with your own evolution. And if you've been the man who paused his dreams, lost his edge, or dimmed his fire just to keep a woman interested, let this be your wake-up call, because she doesn't need you to love her more. She needs you to love yourself so much that it scares her, that it challenges her, that it forces her to rise or leave. And either way, you win. Because now you're living in your truth. Now you're moving with conviction. And now you've become the type of man who doesn't beg for love. He builds a life so powerful, so focused and so alive that love either aligns with it or gets left behind. And the truth is, most men will never get here because they're too soft, too emotional, too distracted, too afraid to be alone long enough to meet the version of themselves that doesn't need validation. And that's why you must separate yourself, cut ties with mediocrity, stop explaining yourself to people who don't get it, and build your empire brick by brick, quietly, obsessively, and with a kind of intensity that makes excuses feel like poison and laziness feel like betrayal. Because when you live like this, everything else, women, status, influence, becomes a byproduct, not a goal. And that's how you win in a world designed to keep you weak, distracted and dependent. You win by becoming undeniable. And that starts the moment you decide that nothing and no one comes before your purpose ever again. Number 4, let your actions speak. Every time you open your mouth trying to explain yourself to someone who doesn't even value your presence, you dilute the very thing that makes you powerful. And most men don't realize how much they talk themselves out of respect. They talk to be seen, to be understood, to be validated, thinking if they say the right thing, she'll stay. If they word it perfectly, she'll understand. If they tell her how different they are from the rest, she'll believe them. But that's not how this works, because the truth is, you're not judged by what you say, you're judged by what you consistently do. And if your actions don't back your words are dead and forgotten before you finish your sentence. And this is the mistake men keep repeating. They try to talk their way into attraction, into leadership, into respect. But the men who get remembered, the ones who get followed, the ones who shift energy the moment they walk into a room, they don't need to talk much because their lives speak louder than any speech ever could. And if you've ever been in a situation where you gave the speech of your life, told her how much she meant to you, how much effort you've put in, how loyal you've been, and she still left, it's because the problem wasn't your lack of love. It was your lack of frame, your lack of execution, your lack of quiet, powerful energy that doesn't need to be explained because it is felt. And women don't fall in love with what you tell them. They fall for how you carry yourself when things aren't going your way, when pressure hits, when emotions rise. And if your first response is always words, reactions, defenses, arguments, then you've already lost your edge, because a man of real value doesn't compete with noise. He lives in discipline, and his choices echo louder than any promise ever could. And the reason she doesn't believe you when you say you're different is because she's heard it all before from men who said the right things, but folded under the slightest resistance. And what she's craving isn't another sweet talker. It's proof, not in what you post, not in what you say during a fight, but in the way you show up when nobody's watching, when you're not being praised, when you're not getting rewarded. because that's who you really are, and that's what builds trust. Not some grand statement after you mess up, but the quiet consistency of a man who lives by his code, not by her moods. And if you've ever chased a woman trying to fix things with words, trying to explain why she should stay, why you're worth it, you already lost her respect long before she said goodbye, because your desperation spoke louder than your logic. And what you need to understand is the most attractive man is the one who doesn't need to say a word, because his life is the proof. His routine is tight, his environment is clean, his mind is sharp, his body is built, and his energy doesn't fluctuate just because someone else changed theirs. And that's what she notices, that's what she respects. And whether she stays or goes, you stay unshaken because you never built your self-worth around someone else's approval. And this is where real men separate from emotional addicts, because real men don't argue over things they can outgrow. They don't waste breath trying to convince someone to see their worth. They just keep building, keep showing up, keep evolving, and the right people either recognize it or get left behind. And if you've been the man who explains, justifies, talks through everything, hoping your words will fix what your patterns never did, this is your wake-up call, because you're not being misunderstood. You're just not being consistent enough to be respected, and this is not about silence. It's about presence. The kind that comes from doing what you said you would do without needing applause or validation. The kind of presence that makes people feel your boundaries without you having to announce them. And when you master this, everything changes, because now you don't need to argue to be right. You don't need to beg to be kept. You don't need to defend your worth, because you've become the kind of man who's undeniable. And that kind of man doesn't have time for debates, for chaos, for empty conversations, because he's too focused on execution, on self-control, on momentum. And that's the kind of man who leads not by telling others what to do, but by doing it first and doing it well. And when you become this man, women start responding differently. They start leaning in instead of pulling away. They start respecting your time, your space, your standards, because now they feel that you're not playing a role, you are the role. And that kind of energy doesn't come from speeches, it comes from mastery, and mastery is built in the dark, away from applause, forged in solitude, discipline, and the refusal to be anything other than excellent, regardless of who is watching. And this is the shift. When you stop explaining and start embodying, when you stop reacting and start refining, when you stop chasing and start building. And that's when your actions become your loudest voice, your clearest signal, and your greatest asset. And no one can argue with that. Not her, not your past, not your critics. Because results speak, outcomes speak, energy speaks. And the man who lives like this never needs to raise his voice to command the room, because the room already knows who he is. And when you get to this level, conversations become lighter, relationships become simpler, life becomes clearer, because now everything either aligns with your direction or gets removed from your space. And that's not being cold, that's being committed. And from this point forward, every word you speak should be a reflection of your actions, not a replacement for them, because talk is cheap, results are expensive, and your life will always mirror not what you say, but what you do. And if you truly want to be respected, desired, and remembered, then stop announcing your greatness and start living like it's already undeniable. Number 5, let go of needing her. You don't need her. And the second you convince yourself that you do, you lose all leverage, all power, all presence. Because the truth is, most men have been programmed to believe that without a woman, they are incomplete, unfulfilled, or lacking something essential. And that lie has cost more men their peace, their purpose, and their identity than anything else. Because when you begin to rely on her for your confidence, for your drive, for your emotional center, you've already handed her the keys to your self-worth. And no matter how good the connection is, No matter how deep the chemistry feels, the minute she senses you're attached to her for your sense of value, her attraction will erode silently and relentlessly, because you've stopped being a man with his own gravity and become a man orbiting hers, hoping to be pulled in closer. But that's not how desire works. That's not how connection is built. And that's not how she stays, because what makes you magnetic isn't how much you care. It's how stable you remain, even when the care isn't returned, even when the effort feels one-sided, even when she tests your limits, disappears for a few days, or acts like she could take you or leave you because your worth isn't moved by that. Your self-belief doesn't shift with her moods, and that's the presence that makes her question everything she thought she wanted, because now she sees a man who could have her, wants her even, but doesn't need her. And that's a different breed entirely. That's rare. And she knows it the moment she realizes you're not checking your phone every 5 minutes hoping she replied. You're not reshaping your goals to fit her schedule. You're not up at night trying to decode mixed signals because you're not looking for signs of love. You're focused on being love. You're locked into your own evolution, into your craft, your code, your habits. And when she doesn't reply, you don't spiral, you execute. When she pulls back, you hold frame. When she doubts, you stay composed, because you're not here to prove your worth to anyone, especially not to someone who can't see it without you performing. And this is the shift that changes everything, because when you truly let go of needing her, you move differently, you speak less. Your energy deepens, your decisions sharpen, and suddenly you're no longer begging for love. You're embodying it, and the right ones feel it, while the wrong ones fade, and the trap most men fall into is confusing care with attachment. They think loving a woman means sacrificing everything for her, constantly checking in, being emotionally available 24/7, always proving they're different from other men. But what you don't see is that all of that comes from fear. The fear of losing her, the fear of being alone, the fear of not being chosen, and that fear creates energy that suffocates. It makes her feel like she's your source of happiness, your lifeline, your entire emotional world. And no woman wants that burden. No woman wants to feel like if she leaves, your life falls apart, because that tells her one thing: you have nothing else holding you up. And that is the fastest way to lose her, because the men she obsesses over aren't the ones who love her the most. They're the ones who love themselves so fully that her love feels like a gift, not a necessity. And if she walks away, they hurt. Yes, but they don't crumble. They don't beg. They don't chase someone who has already decided to walk. They let go with calm, not because they don't care, but because they trust themselves to build again, to rise again, to attract again. And that's what makes them unforgettable, because she knows she didn't leave a broken man. She left a complete one, and that image will haunt her far longer than any text you could send or speech you could give. And this is where most men never reach, because they've tied their masculinity to how much they can give, how much they can sacrifice, how much they can endure just to keep someone. And that's not strength. That's codependence disguised as devotion. And the only way out is to get brutally honest with yourself. Ask why you cling so tightly to people who are unsure about you, why you chase women who treat you like an option, why you lower your standards just to feel needed. And when you face those answers, you'll find the cracks in your foundation, and from there you rebuild, not to impress, not to prove anything, but to reclaim your soul, because you were not made to beg for love. You were not made to be tolerated, to be almost chosen, to be kept around for comfort. You were made to be complete first, to be whole within yourself, so that any love you receive is extra, not essential. And this isn't about being cold or closed off. It's about being solid, unshakable, rooted so deeply in your own identity that no amount of affection can distract you from your path, and no amount of rejection can destroy you. Because now you live for something bigger than attention. Now you live with clarity, with purpose, with a level of discipline that no woman can replicate or replace. And when you embody that, she sees it. She feels it in your silence, in your gaze, in the way you don't react when she tests you, in the way you stay composed when she pulls away, in the way you don't try to win her back, but simply keep moving forward. And that energy pulls her in like nothing else, because now you're not performing, you're being, and that's what lasts. That's what penetrates deeper than words, deeper than gifts, deeper than effort. It's your essence, it's your stillness, it's the way you stay whole no matter who comes or who goes. And if you want to know how to master this, start today by cutting ties with anything that makes you question your worth. Stop chasing people who confuse you. Stop explaining your value to those who don't see it. Stop giving access to those who haven't earned it, and start building habits that reinforce your self-belief. Surround yourself with men who hold you accountable. Eliminate everything in your life that distracts you from your direction, and commit to showing up for yourself harder than you ever have for anyone else, because that's the version of you that can't be broken, can't be controlled, and can't be replaced. And that's when she falls, not for what you give her, but for who you've become without her. And the irony is, once you no longer need her, that's when she wants you the most, because now your presence is a gift, not a plea. And she knows that being with you means walking beside a man who stands on his own. And when you get to that place, you'll never fear losing anyone again, because you'll finally know you were never missing anything. You were always the source. If you're tired of feeling powerless, chasing women who don't respect you, and living a life that feels small, then stop waiting. The Stoic relationship blueprint is the wake-up call you've needed. Society wants you weak, distracted, and begging for scraps of attention. But this book? It's the blueprint to becoming the kind of man who commands respect without saying a word. It's filled with timeless Stoic principles that will shift your mindset, your relationships, and your life immediately. And now, it's available as an audiobook, so you can start transforming while walking, jogging, training, or driving. No more excuses. Click the link in the comments and grab it now before this knowledge becomes gatekept. If you're ready to step into the man you were always meant to be, comment, "I reclaim my power," like this video, and subscribe to help save other men years of confusion, heartbreak, and regret.